But Mark, let's move on into our next topic, and we're talking about your team.
That's right.
You're talking about
the Bears.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Da Bears. You got to say it right. You got to put some respect
We are here.
on that name, although you guys are 0-2. And the thing we are asking this week about the Bears is, after starting 0-2, should the Bears basically start the GOAT? Should they start Mitch Trubisky now after 2 weeks of the season?
Here's the tough thing. I mean, Glennon has not looked good.
Mm-hmm. He looked okay.
Week one, he looked fine.
Week one, he looked like, holy shit, this team might compete in games.
He looked average enough
to make you guys compete.
Yeah. The problem for Glennon is the fact that he is a guy who cannot handle pressure. If you get a little bit of pressure on him, he freaks out and he just
the Buccaneers
throws it wherever.
can do.
Yeah, the Falcons apparently were not able to pressure him enough.
Yet again, wasn't on a dome, wasn't on turf, actual grass.
Yeah. Steelers are going to pressure the fuck out of Glennon. The Packers, depending on the way these injuries go, they'll be able to do as well. Vikings will, Ravens will, the Panthers will. Fortunately, the Saints, all the way October 29th, won't be able to pressure anybody. But I honestly doubt Glennon lasts that long. I am still kind of going strong on my belief that Glennon probably will be our quarterback
until the bye.
Yeah, I mean, I think that enough will be enough at some point this year. Because I think he can be average, but I cannot see the Chicago Bears team with the wide receivers they have, with the defense falling apart already due to injury. I cannot see Mike Glennon winning a single game for the Bears. Now, I don't think that Mitch Trubisky is going to go out there and win 16-0. It's impossible now.
But he's the GOAT.
Yeah, he is the GOAT. But I just think that he can at least win one solitary game, right? He can at least do that from getting the players excited that it's the new, young, fresh quarterback out there. That's good enough for at least one game win against maybe the Saints or the 49ers, the Bengals, or the Browns. Like, I just cannot imagine Mike Glennon right now winning any games.
Well, and the biggest problem I have with the Bears right now is you didn't expect Mike Glennon to be anything special, but the thing that it kind of helped him in the Atlanta game was having Cohen have the game that he had. 66 yards only on 5 carries, being explosive on the ground, and receiving being explosive in the reception game as well.
There's a huge question mark of where's Jordan Howard?
And that's the thing I was going to go at. Not because he's on my fantasy team and I basically have an ABT put out for him and need to find and locate where Jordan Howard
You've already put him on the milk cartons.
Oh, already. Where is he? His run game is missing in my fantasy team. I drafted him high because I'm like, you know what? He's the best running back available, and right now he's proven to be a draft bust for me. But I look at the Tampa Bay game, and it was god-awful. I mean, Cohen only had 13 rushing yards. Howard only had 9, and I believe Cohen also had a fumble in this game. I believe it was on special teams fumble, though.
It's a rookie mistake.
I look at this team, and the Bears are not, whether it's Trubisky or Glennon, the Bears are not going to be a good team unless they get the run game going. And the problem is, if you get a game like Tampa Bay where you're down 26-0 going into half, you're not going to run the ball. Yeah, you're basically going to become one-dimensional and play into the defense's hands.
And the hard thing is there's so many things that really are not very good about the Bears right now. You mentioned that, and that's why part of me says I would love to see Mitch Trubisky play.
Just have him go out there.
And at the same time, until he is out there, I'm going to assume that the Chicago Bears are going to lose every single game. I'll maybe have some hope when he's on the field. But my big question for John Fox, for Pace, for any Chicago Bears fans that want him to play like I want him to play is, what's the point? You know, Bears fans, if Mitch Trubisky played, what would that do for you right now? His wide receivers are still fucking terrible. His run game is currently non-existent, but I'm sure is going to get better closer to week 1. Jordan Howard apparently is continuing this Bears curse that started after Matt Forte of one good year and then nothing, which I say continuing it, but it was really only Jeremy Langford that had that happen to him. this defense is already taken apart by injury. So is there a reason for him to play? I'm also at that point where it's like, yes, I think we're going to lose every single game. But you know what? I think if we put Mitch Trubisky out there, we run the risk of him getting hurt. We already had Kevin White prove that he's a bust, from week 1 due to injuries. We're having guys, who looked awesome defensively, go and get hurt. Our secondary is depleted because of people getting hurt. So I kind of want to shelter the kid a little bit and say, you know what? Fox is probably going to get fired this year because things are looking bad. Dow Loggins, 110% should be fired this year as well. She probably should have been fired last year, but they gave him another year.
Like, there were things like in the offseason, week 1, heard so much great things about Dow Loggins.
I don't know why.
Heard so much great things,
Dow Loggins
Mark.
was terrible last year.
I know, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I'm not even a Bears fan.
Yeah, and people had hope for him for some reason, that he would come into himself, I guess. But he's just proven that he is not good with game planning or play calling. But anyways, so, these guys are probably going to go. Why even bother having Mitch Trubisky do anything? Just let him take the year off, let him enjoy learning from somehow Mark Sanchez and Mike Glennon. Let Mike Glennon be the guy that takes the blame. And then play him maybe in the last 3 weeks or something like that.
I would not even say the last 3 weeks. I would say, for me, if we're going on that route, the soonest that I would start him is week 13. Then because week 13, you're far out of it. You get the 49ers who won't scare anybody. You'll have the Cincinnati Bengals who won't scare anybody. Yeah, you get the Lions and the Vikings, but it'll be good at that point to let him go up against teams that have basically either depending on where the teams are, one of them is going to lock up a playoff appearance.
For sure.
Either the Lions or the Vikings. And the Vikings, week 17, if they locked it up already, they might even sit their starters, so you don't have to worry about Mitch getting hurt.
There's a chance that you might be playing Case Keenum out there, and then you got a chance.
And Cleveland, it's like nothing against Cleveland. I really want them to be good this year, but nothing scares me about if, Kaiser and Trubisky went head-to-head against each other. I think the soonest, though, that he could start, and the soonest that I would start him, if you're asking me, Ricky, when's the first game you would play him if you had to pick the soonest? I would say week 5. Because this week, already, we're sitting here recording this on Tuesday. Really, if a decision's not made by Tuesday, Wednesday, he's not starting. By the time we get to Thursday, Friday, usually it's
I think after the game, John Fox said something along the lines of there's no reason why they're changing the quarterback or something like that.
Which, it's like, whatever, you're 0-2, you probably expected this. Week 4, I definitely wouldn't start him because I don't want to start my rookie quarterback on short rest because you're going from Sunday to Thursday. The reason I say that week 5 at the very earliest would make sense is because you'd have more than a week to prepare for that game. You're basically going from Thursday the 28th to that next Monday in the 9th. Get him a primetime game against a team that the Bears usually play well against at home in the Minnesota Vikings, and let that be the first game. Otherwise, I say stick to the plan. You say week 10, I say week 8. Let them go up against a crappy defense like the Saints and let them feast for a day. Let them feast in that first one.
It just feels so typical for a rookie to come in after a bye week for sure because they had an extra week of practice, but it's tough for the Bears right now. I can't. I had promise and hope that this team could maybe win 6 games because of the defense and because of Jordan Howard. The defense is injured. Jordan Howard doesn't exist. So now I can see them winning 1 or 2 games, maybe 3 if they're lucky.
0-16, is it in the picture?
No, because they're going to play Cincinnati. They're going to play San Francisco.
Cincinnati's going to go 0-16.
No, I don't think anybody goes 0-16 this year.
No,
but,
the Jets.
No, I don't even think the Jets put 20 points this weekend. They're going to win a game at some point.
Still lost.
Jermaine Kearse, yeah. He looks actually kind of decent right now. Yeah,
because someone needs to catch the ball for him.
Someone has to. So, everybody's going to win at least one game. It doesn't matter how many teams are at 1 and how many of them get 2. But Yeah, I just think that Chicago's going nowhere right now with Mike Glennon. They know it, but I think they're stuck in kind of a sense. And for at least for Ryan Pace, Trubisky's kind of the career saver. If he goes out there and looks terrible, that's one thing, and then there's a discussion that needs to be had. But if he doesn't play much, or if he plays and looks decent, well, you gotta, Ryan Pace, you gotta believe now because he did something well. John Fox, Dowell Loggins, I think 110% are both gone at the end of the season. And I know we're going to get to that discussion. Well, I don't want to spoil it.
And that's why I think the Bears right now are in a little bit of a catch-22. Because, of course, exactly like you said, you want Mitch Trubisky. Like I was looking at a CSN article, and they said one of the things, like 5 reasons Trubisky should start, 5 reasons he shouldn't. And one of the reasons why he should start they put was because it would give Bears fans hope for the future. Like one was that the future has to start sometime, and another one was that it gives Bear fans hope.
Well, that hope will come whenever it happens.
However, it only gives Bear fans hope if he's playing well. If he goes out there and he's just throwing duds out there, then you don't get the hope that you wanted. You get pitchforks for John Fox and Ryan Pace. You don't want those pitchforks, especially if you're Ryan Pace. John Fox, we're going to get to him. He's probably gone at the end of the year
because it's just not looking well right now. I've never thought that I would want Bill O'Brien to be my head coach right now, but after seeing how quickly they turned to Deshaun Watson, I'm like, yeah, one of those Bill O'Briens would look kind of nice right now.
But on the flip side, a reason why he shouldn't start, and I agree with the CSN article, is the talent around him.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference.
If Cameron Meredith was not hurt, I would say sure. But Cameron Meredith, who was going to be your number one coming into the year, hurt out for the year. Kevin White has not played a full season. Hasn't even played much of anything for the Bears.
He's played 4 games in 3 years.
For the Bears since being drafted out of, was that Ryan Pace's first draft pick for the Bears? I believe that was his first.
Yeah.
Coming out of West Virginia. And I feel like I'm on that side where it's like, you know what? I know I want to give Bear fans hope that like the future is here, but I don't think it would hurt Trubisky to not start at all. Because the last thing you want is him to go out there, throw up duds, and then Bear fans, because Chicago's we're either with you or we're against you. And if you're throwing out duds, this city will turn. This city could turn on Trubisky, and that's not what you want. You don't want the city to turn on a rookie quarterback. You want them to be like, this is our quarterback of the future, and they're not going to do that if he's not playing well.
I do feel like even if he doesn't do that well this year, I do think that he'll get a pass for this year. Depends how many games he plays. If he plays like 3, 4, then I think he gets a pass. If he plays 8 or more, then I think people are going to come to decisions on him.
Just think about this city with Jay Cutler. I mean, Jay Cutler was a different player of like, I'm talking polarizing player where you either loved him or you hated him.
It took a while for Jay to get to that point.
But I mean, like this city, even with other sports that we see, it's either like, and of course you always get this guy in every city, but I think Chicago, maybe it's because I live here and we kind of see it a lot where it's like, oh, what a bum, get him off the field, he's a bum. And it's like this city, I feel like, turns on
But
players.
Jay Cutler had that awful year with interceptions that first year, and people were still waiting to put
the bicycle game. The bicycle game didn't help.
Well, that was
the NFC Championship game
into his time in
that was kind of the one that turned everything.
That's what I'm saying. Trubisky's young. He's going to be fine even if he doesn't do well. He's got that strong Polish name. People will like it. They're going to have hope for him no matter what. I just think that it's smart to not put him out there because it doesn't make a difference in that case. Of course, a guy like John Fox probably will want to put him out, but John Fox is stubborn, and we're going to talk about him, I'm sure, soon, but he's stubborn. He doesn't seem to know how to call a game when it matters. He doesn't necessarily have the best managing of this team right now in this roster because you can't sit there and look at Mike Glennon and really think that this is going to win us games, but maybe Mike Glennon was not something that John Fox wanted. He's not the one that signs players to contracts.
If I am the Bears, and I know that this is the side of it where Bears fans are, and I know me even, I wouldn't want to see my team do this just because the Lions are the only ones associated with it, but I'm not going to go on the side of I would hope for my team to go 0-16, but if I'm a Bear fan right now, I am hoping my team gets the first overall pick. You want to know why?
What's that?
Not necessarily what you could pick with that pick, but I think this could be the prime year for if the Bears get the first overall pick, let's trade with someone. Let's trade back to get some picks because of no matter which, it could pick a quarterback you want this year. That could be number one. Somebody's going to fall in love with the guy and say, we need to take him number one. And this could be the year, much like the Titans and not the Rams, the Titans and who else traded back? The Browns traded back to give the Rams and Eagles opportunities to get their quarterback. That could happen for the Bears this year. And if I'm a guy, I'd be like, hey, give me more draft picks so I can get weapons for Trubisky.
It doesn't matter if the Bears are number one overall. They're going to be in the top three.
I say 1 or 2 is where you'd want to be because quarterback will probably go 1-2.
But even if they're third overall again, then they just go and they get a stud. You know, it's a win-win scenario for them. And I hate to be so pessimistic here, but you know, Bears are going to be at the top of the draft. They're
going to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
That's going to be it. And I mean, I'm trying to think.
Unless Trubisky comes in there after the bye and manages to win like 4 games or something like that.
Do you honestly see that happening, though?
I see him probably coming in after the bye, yeah.
Yeah, but do you honestly see him coming in and winning?
49ers, Bengals, Browns, steals one against the Vikings? I think it's possible.
You had to throw that in there. Steal one against the Vikings.
Well, I mean, who else are they going to steal it from? The Packers, the Lions, the Eagles? Those are playoff teams.
And I mean, I'm looking right now, and this is getting ahead of myself, but now you started with the top 5 because where the Bears will probably be. And I know this is getting a little way from Mitch, but even if Mitch starts, maybe 2 wins. Maybe 2. Like you said, Niners, Browns, and Bengals. You could win all 3. You can go 2 of 3. I don't think you lose more than 2 of those. However, I'm a Bear fan. Lose all of those games so that we get the higher draft pick out of those teams.
Just beat the Packers and then lose all the rest. And life is great for a Bears fan.
And I know right now mock draft kind of positioning doesn't matter because we don't know a set order, but there are guys to where, like, there are many directions the Bears could go where you can go with a Calvin Ridley, who will probably be the number 1 wide receiver coming out of Alabama. Or if you're high enough, you could say, screw it. Jordan Howard hasn't shown us anything. Saquon Barkley, you can take a running back, or you can go, hey, we're going to take a guy like Arden Key and boost up that defense. I don't know where at this point you'd want to go. I know the draft is far away.
I'm imagining wide receiver because Pace made the splash with a wide receiver in the past when a star was gone. I assume he would try and do that again as opposed to going for a running back because he likes to get those in not late, but earlier to late rounds.
So it's looking like then Calvin Ridley will probably be, to me, he's right now my highest wide receiver, the guy out of Alabama. But also I could see the Bears making a splash by saying, hey, you know what, Jordan Howard didn't have a good year this year.
No way.
And moving on, yet again, draft is far away, but with Trubisky, just to kind of end this, final prediction, when do you think, are you still going to stick to your Green Bay game after the bye?
Yeah, I'm sticking to he comes in after the bye. Totally possible that Glennon could get hurt or something like that, but I'm sticking to after the bye.
Barring injury, the earliest I start him is week 13. That's when I start him because at this point, 0-2, unless John Fox makes a decision like, hey, I'm going to probably get fired, put in the new kid, there's probably a disconnect there where Ryan Pace is going to keep his job, use John Fox as a sacrificial lamb in order to keep a year or two onto his tenure. I wouldn't start him until 13 because then you get 3 out of those final games are against teams that'll most likely not be playoff teams. You can get him some looks against those teams. Yeah, he's got to play 2 divisional opponents, but that might not be the worst case scenario that late in the season. This is where you guys come in, though. Let us know down below. Should Trubisky start basically now? And if not, let us know if he should start this season, or if you're on the side of, no, bench him the entire year. I do not want to see Mitch Trubisky on the field unless it's getting Mike Glennon some water for playing so well on the field, unless you're one of those people.
Mike Glennon playing well. Oh, it's hilarious.
I had to throw it in
I mean,
there.
he really went out there and showed his team. You guys want to know what you're missing? This is what you're missing.
At least
Three turnovers.
He can see over the offensive line with that neck that he's got. He can
not a problem at all.
He can just peer over it and see what's going on. But let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.